Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe. We have new content coming out daily. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you guys. Will, add more detail about Iran's role and Joe Biden funding Iran.
So Iran funds any number of terrorist groups all over the Middle East. With respect to Israel, the two key players are obviously Hamas, which controls the Gaza Strip, and then Hezbollah, which controls much of the country of Lebanon. Iran has been a prime actor in this region for a long time through what's called the IRGC, which is a component of the Iranian military, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps. That's sort of their key entity for exporting terrorism around the region. What we know now is that IRGC officers, Iranian officers, were actively meeting with Hamas and Hezbollah operatives and leaders in Lebanon within the last month or two. Iran is a principal source of both funding and weapons for Hamas. It's tough to see how Iran did not have a role in these attacks. So far, what we've heard is denials that Iran had a direct role, but certainly in terms of financing and arming Hamas, Iran is the key player behind this sort of activity and needs to be held accountable. You may remember when Donald Trump was president, the head of the IRGC was a general named Qasem Soleimani. After the IRGC started attacking American-occupied military bases in Iraq, Trump had Soleimani killed in a drone strike. That was the sort of approach we took to Iranian exporting of terrorism in the region under President Trump. Unfortunately, under President Biden, as I said before, we've seen now, I think, close to $10 billion of money shipped to Iran for various purposes in the misbegotten hope of resurrecting the Iran nuclear deal. But Iran is ultimately behind this. I believe Iran is ultimately responsible. And I believe Iran has American blood on its hands here. I think it's time they were held accountable.
Talk also, Will, in closing here, how this probably undermined peace efforts between Saudi Arabia and Israel. And then also, Will, talk about how, some people in our audience say, Charlie, how does this impact us as Americans? Well, through many ways, but not to mention, there are Americans currently being held hostage right now. 9 Americans were killed. And if you have a passport, if you're an American passport holder, that needs to be a guarantee that we're going to do everything we possibly can to get you out of harm's way. Answer those 2 questions, Will, as we summarize all this.
Sure. So on the latter point, I mean, America has a lot of interest in Israel. America works closely with Israel on counterterrorism issues and other foreign policy issues. The American defense industry co-develops weapons with Israel. Israeli security is a big part of our engagement with the Middle East. Israel's been an ally to us in the global war on terrorism. And there are a lot of Americans, as you said, that are in Israel. And unfortunately, Americans have been both killed and captured in this fight. In Iran, they refer to Israel as the little Satan and America as the great Satan. I promise you, this may have started with Israel, but it does not end with Israel. These are people who wish us ill. I believe one of the easiest ways for us to fight against Iranian terrorism, making it into the homeland here and threatening American interests abroad, is giving Israel the tools they need to deal with Iranian terrorism on their perimeter. In terms of the Saudi issue, obviously a key goal of American foreign policy in that region for a long time has been the rapprochement between Israel and key Arab powers like Saudi Arabia, like the United Arab Emirates, and like Egypt. I think under President Trump, we made great strides in that respect. Obviously, the Abraham Accords, but also increased security cooperation between Israel and Egypt and Israel and Saudi Arabia. Before these attacks, it appeared that we were on a path towards full normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which would have been a major win for those of us who care about American interests in the Middle East. Unfortunately, these attacks may derail that as public pressure on the Saudi government ramps up in the coming days as Israel starts to do what they have to do to guarantee their security. I do think it's important to note, though, that the United Arab Emirates put out a statement supporting Israel, condemning Hamas. It was in many respects a much more positive, aggressive statement than we've seen from many aspects of American society and American congressmen. So I think it's fortunate that, at least in some respect, the peace that we've attempted to broker between Israel and our Arab allies in the Middle East over the last decade seems to be holding, and I hope that continues.